Real quickly before I jump into the video, I want to let you guys know that if you guys are interested in Control Freaks, from now until the end of the holiday season, you can end up getting 15% off your entire order using code ESPRESSO instead of just the previous 10 that it was all the way beforehand. But if you guys are interested in checking that out, some stocking stuffers, or you just want to buy a pair for yourself, feel free to check that out. I'll leave a link down there in the description below if you guys want to click that. It'll actually pre-apply the code, so you can just go in. You don't have to remember to put the code in, or you can use code ESPRESSO for 15% off at checkout. But now, back to the regular schedule content. Tuesday just keeps getting bigger and bigger as we progress through this week, leading up until next Tuesday, the 11th of December. If you guys haven't really been following what's been going on and what we should look forward to with next Tuesday, that's when we're going to be getting a massive update for Black Ops 4, and presumably actually a decent amount of content given to us, not necessarily in the way of what many people might think is a standard DLC drop, but a lot of things in terms of adjustments, updates, and new content, no less. So we'll have things like a brand new operation within the black market to grind out, probably 200 more tiers of content, hopefully not as many stickers and different tags as what we see in Season 1, and maybe things like camos and new signature weapons, but we're more than likely going to get, of course, a new one of that. We're going to end up having what is a new update to Blackout, which is, by all accounts, looking like it's going to be hijacked. And then as of today, PlayStation actually tweeted out another teaser for this coming Tuesday and what we can expect within Black Ops 4. And this one doesn't necessarily look to be Blackout specific, but this one looks to be a new specialist within multiplayer. So the way this breaks down is it came from PlayStation, not necessarily Treyarch, initially debuting this here, in which you'll see on screen right now the teaser in the background. It's a 4-second clip and it'll be on a loop, so it's not anything too insane that shows off a whole lot, but it is something that gives some context as to what we might be seeing on Tuesday. And for this supposed new specialist, it looks like we might be getting with it an EMP grenade sort of ability with it. We have the cluster grenades for Battery, we have the 9-bang for Ajax, we have the Seeker Shock Mine for Prophet, and so on and so forth, and it looks like this one's sort of utility item might be an EMP grenade. And the reason that I bring this up is because it is something that looks like a stun, a concussion of some sorts. And the original tweet was structured in a very interesting manner. It said the disruption is coming, hashtag Black Ops 4. Now, not to overanalyze this too much, but disruption's capitalized, which is rather intriguing. Maybe that's the name of the specialist, the disruptor, or something like that. But the way that it is formatted almost makes it seem like a disruptive grenade. And the only thing in COD history that I can really think of is sort of EMP grenade of some nature. And additionally, tying in with how tweets were structured itself, really deep diving into this, and this one is maybe a little bit of a reach. Treyarch ended up quote tweeting this specific tweet and saying, "It all goes down on Tuesday." That one, again, maybe reading too far into it, but it's interesting no less that maybe it all does go down electronically on Tuesday. Something that an EMP would do, but other than disabling ground streaks, we don't have any thrusters or anything that can really be tampered with in terms of movement and core gameplay, so this one really might just play like Black Ops 2's EMP grenade if it does come at all, in which it's just more so annoying, not necessarily OP. And this, of course, I'd gladly take an EMP that disables my HUD over a 9-bang because, well, you can still play that way. The last thing that I'll mention in terms of this little teaser is the fact that it really looks like there is a new specialist icon on the grenade itself as we kind of zoom into it for that last 2 seconds of the teaser. It almost looks like a sort of squid, to which I'm not entirely sure if that's exactly what it'll be, but it does tie in then with the animal nature of the different specialist icons that we've already seen throughout Black Ops 4. Each specialist, while they might not necessarily be the most prominent branding out there, do have different icons associated with them, which you can check those out on screen right now as well to see the list of what everything is associated with. So there's definitely more than enough hints to me that ties this down to a specialist and maybe even what type of specialist, but it begs the even further question of which specialist could this actually be? Because believe it or not, we've had teasers galore both in Black Ops 4 in the playable game and also in the lore surrounding the world and universe of Black Ops. I mean, we ended up having the prequel comics in which we saw Reaper and the mention of Blackjack. In the Black Ops game itself, we have Blackjack's shop, so he's there in the lore. We've had map indications of Spectre and also Outrider from Black Ops 3 potentially making a return, so there's definitely no shortage of what could be done, and of course you have to take into consideration that maybe we get a brand new specialist. I mean, we didn't see Ajax, Torque, Crash, and Recon in Black Ops 3, those were all brand new to Black Ops 4, so who's to say that doesn't happen again as we move forward into Black Ops' year, where we get a brand new specialist. It's certainly certainly possible that it could be any number of those, and especially with some indications pointing to Spectre being a more so high-tech and, of course, stealthy assassin that we've already seen. Maybe that's a likely candidate, but wouldn't it be nice to know right up front what we might end up seeing? Well, that actually might be the case. For those of you guys that don't follow leaks all that much, there is a Twitter account named the Woo Lads in which they've been tweeting and leaking stuff for ages now, the majority of which, if not all of it, has been entirely credible and has happened as actual fact. So it leads me to believe that what they tweeted about the subject is a little more credible than just simply saying, hey, I think this is going to happen. This, by all indications of previous information that they've detailed, has some merit behind it, and therefore we might be able to lay the fabric down of more so credible leaks on this one. So for this, they ended up tweeting out soonish with the images attached of Outrider, David Mason, Sarah Hall from Black Ops 3's campaign, and the Ultimus crew, to which there is context behind it and not necessarily everything is going to, of course, come to multiplayer. Obviously, we have one specialist on deck. That's the big talking point of today's video, but the other things were included in this tweet no less. So for that, it seems like Outrider might be the brand new specialist here. And again, from the map frequency, we saw a little teaser showcasing some of the origin story that matched up with hers from Black Ops 3, in which Outrider might be making a return. Now with the specialist weapon of the Sparrow, and also something that now kind of crosses over into another specialist domain, the ability of Vision Pulse, Black Ops 3's version of Outrider is a little bit different than that of what we might see. And of course, being that it is potentially an EMP grenade that we see in this teaser, might be a lot different. And does it really fit the MO of what Outrider is really known for? Well, I guess that's kind of an iffy answer that we have here, because the Vision Pulse is of course something that's high tech, and while Black Ops 3 takes place in a simulation, anything can happen realistically, it is a little more high tech compared to other things that we saw for specialist abilities or weapons. The Sparrow also being a more high tech bow and of course explosive at that, it does play into a little more high-tech nature, but an EMP grenade might be at first glance a strange disconnect from what we know Outrider to be previously. But where I get hung up on is that we actually have seen in that frequency Easter egg in a monitor just across the same room as Outrider's description, the mention of a black hat hacker. So wouldn't that seemingly make more sense here with this? I don't know, your guess is good as mine. Again, I have no reason to doubt them, and I don't doubt the Woo Lads. It's just interesting how this is all pieced together, because it might be a complete disconnect from what we know of Black Ops 3's version of Outrider to where Black Ops 4 might introduce her. But outside of that, of course, we do have some other things detailed that are kind of big off of that same exact tweet that may or may not give some more insight and confirmation that Outrider may be coming as this new specialist, as Tuesday may suggest. Whenever we end up taking a look at this, we also have David Mason from Black Ops 2, Sarah Hall from Black Ops 3's campaign, and the Ultimus crew that apparently are going to be making their way into Blackout. And additionally, he gave some other information and clarity in terms of even specialists and multiplayer that Reaper, everybody's favorite bloodthirsty robot, was actually planned to be in Black Ops 4, and we can at some point expect to see him as a DLC specialist, but he was actually planned to be there from the very beginning, but that's not something that we ended up seeing at launch, obviously, and the ETA on when he's coming isn't really anything that is out there. So that's something that, of course, it makes sense this isn't Reaper, his arm isn't robotic in this teaser, but it's interesting that he was planned for initial release, but now is pushed back to somewhere in the pipeline. But apparently on top of even the David Mason, Sarah Hall, and Ultimus crews in Blackout, we might even be getting more variations of the 9 crew added to Blackout as well. And that's something that of course is interesting because we already have Scarlett, Shaw, Diego, and Bruno in Blackout with their own character missions, but this is apparently going to be another deviation of those, a slight variation in customization, how they look in terms of their uniforms, and from what's detailed, they're actually going to have different challenges for those specific variations, which is really interesting, and it might be a way that we end up seeing even more customization go forward within Blackout, because while you might be able to add in a bunch of different characters at a certain point in time, you might also be able to add variations of them, like the 9 crew, how they travel to the different maps, like an older or younger Frank Woods, and other sort of slight changes to those characters for different eras or different areas of the game, in which adding challenges for each progressional customization item might not be a bad way to do it. While it might be a pain to unlock every single one individually, yes, it would be certainly something that adds a ton of longevity to the game for those playing for completion and of course challenges, which from a game developer's perspective is always the main goal. You want to engage your players and keep them in the game as active as possible. So that wouldn't necessarily be the worst bet for how we see different customization items added into Blackout for the characters. Now, additionally, also some of these might be tied to different tiers in your new Black Market content stream with air quotes Season 2, and with the echelon cap increasing, that's something that is also up for debate as well, that maybe we see some tied with specific echelon rankings, like with what we had with Frogman, Seal, Airborne, Battle Hardened, and the other ones there. So depending on how many more ranks are added, this might be something that is tethered with that as well. But regardless, we have a lot of information here with this to digest, and with the specialist being teased officially by Treyarch, it seems like Tuesday is of course going to be a lot bigger than we may have anticipated. Of course, we did know from the very beginning, Season 2 of Black Ops 4, whatever operation is up next, and of course Hijacked being teased yesterday, but seems like we might be getting progressively more. So stick it right here on the channel throughout the week, and we'll keep you up to date with everything you need to know about what is going to be happening for this next air quote season of Black Ops 4. But that said, that's where we're going to wrap it up. So let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Who do you think this new specialist is within Black Ops 4? Who do you think we can expect coming on Tuesday, and are you looking forward to anything in particular out of these customization additions or slight changes? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Love to get your opinion and feedback on that, but hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you drop a like down below, and of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure you guys subscribe so you don't miss a single thing regarding all things Black Ops 4, multiplayer, Blackout, zombies, you name it, we got you covered. The best of updates, news, information, tips, tricks, all that good stuff, we got you covered. So if any of that interests you, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single thing regarding any of it. And if you guys want to follow me over on Twitter and Instagram, those are the best places to get connected with me outside of YouTube as well. Practically live on both those, links in the description below. Well, that's it. Out of the way, hope you guys have a fantastic day. Thanks so much for watching. Honest Espresso, take care, and peace.